Rise and shine, beloved. Rise and shine. Come on in. Come on in. Today, I want to ask you this question. Have you ever known something within yourself, but continue to override it, continue to explain it away, negotiate with it, ask for another sign? Today, we're opening up Dimension 3 on the Spiritual Success Identity Pathway, alignment. And we're going to talk about why alignment does not begin with perfection. Alignment is agreement. It is agreement with the truth of what's already been revealed within yourself. So, with that being said, let's dive right on into Dimension 3. And we really want to work through this in an easy, soft, and gentle way. All right. So, in Dimension 1 was awareness. And we moved through awareness. Awareness helped you to see what patterns, cycles, habits, reactions, unconscious identities that were shaping your reality. And then we opened up Dimension 2, which was awakening. Awakening is all about being able to tap in to the rich inner life and remember who you truly are. Being able to see that survival identity versus your original identity or your authentic identity. But now we're going to open up Dimension 3, alignment. And alignment asks a deeper question, beloved. Alignment asks, am I willing to live in agreement with the truth I already know? Please put that in your notes. Because it's one thing to awaken to truth, to say, I'm woke, I woke up, I see things differently, I understand things differently. That's one thing. But it's another thing to begin living from that truth that's been revealed within. In other words, it's another thing to begin rearranging your life around the truth that you have awakened to. All right. So let's do this in a gentle but yet powerful way. Go ahead and place a hand on heart if that's helpful. Come on, do this. Don't skip this because we want everything in us. Remember, we breathe to reset and regulate the nervous system, because you are not going to do anything if your nervous system is not regulated. If you don't feel safe in your body, you're not moving, you're not going to take action. So we breathe to reset and regulate the nervous system. We breathe to ground ourselves in the body so that the body knows you're safe, it's okay. And we breathed again to tap into the rich inner life so that we could elevate and expand our capacity to grow. Expand your capacity to hold more. Hold more what, Dr. E? Increase, success, wealth, relationship, you name it. You want to expand your capacity. So let's just sit with our feet flat, back straight, opening up the core. Bow the head slightly. Where tension goes, energy flows. Take a good healing deep breath in through the nostrils, slow out through the mouth. Just allow yourself to settle, relax. Just relax, beloved. Not into striving, that's not what we're here for. Not into feeling like you have to fix everything today, all at once. Just settle into this present moment. This present moment is always the place of power. And you want to be in your strongest position, not the past, not the future, the present moment. Relax. Let your body know. I do not have to force alignment. I begin by agreeing with truth. Let your body know that. That's why I'm taking this time to support you in relaxing. Because if your body's tense, if you're in anxiety, if your mind is wandering all over, your nervous system is not regulated, then I'm just talking. And I'm not here to talk, I'm here to transmit. I'm here to activate transformation. So settle yourself, let your body know. I don't have to force alignment. I begin by agreeing with the truth that's been revealed. Take another breath in and relax. Gently say to yourself now, I'm willing to honor the truth that has been revealed within me. I'm willing to stop betraying what I already know. Come on, we're going somewhere with this. I'm willing to release the need for truth to be convenient. You want to grow, you want increase, you want your life to change, you want to shift to a new level, then we have to stop betraying the truth we know, release what feels convenient and comfortable, and come into agreement with your authentic spiritual identity. I'm willing to align gently and honestly and courageously. One more breath for the power of 3. Breath in and exhale. All right. So listen, beloved. Alignment is often misunderstood because many people think that alignment means everything in your life has to be perfect. You have to feel clear all the time. You never wrestle with anything. You never have any doubts. You never feel uncomfortable. Everything just flows easily. But that's not the fullness of alignment. Alignment is not perfection. Please put that in your notes. Alignment isn't perfection. Alignment is sacred agreement. It's holy agreement. It's covenant. It is the sacred practice, watch this, it's the sacred practice of bringing your thoughts, your choices, your habits, your relationship, your language, your actions, your environment, your energy into greater agreement with the truth that your soul already knows. I said a lot right there. This is the basis of true alignment. Is being able to bring the parts of your life into agreement and full cooperation with the truth you know. It doesn't mean you're perfect. It doesn't mean you don't ever have a doubt. It doesn't mean that you don't wrestle sometimes. It just means that you are willing to now bring your life into agreement with that truth. All right. So let me just check in and see who's here today. Make sure we are broadcasting on all channels. Great Grand Rising, come on in, come on in. Yes, let me see what's going on here. Nope, that's not it. Okay, I'm waiting to see if I'm broadcasting over on Facebook. Okay, there we go. We're in. Okay. Now, Great Grand Rising, come on, let me take a moment and check in. Let's see who's here today. Great Grand Rising, thanks for joining us live. All righty. Grand Rising, Lisa and Jewel and Reese and Amanda and Marcus. Thanks for joining us live today. All right. Tag somebody, tell them to come on in. All right. We are at an important juncture, right? So when you make the decision now to come into alignment, so from where we were to awareness, I see the habits, I see the patterns, I see what's operating, I see the survival identity I created, my shadow self. I see that now. Awakening. Okay, I'm tapping in. I can sense now there's a different version of me. This is not who I am. I've outgrown that survival version of myself, and I know and I sense. So now we're in this dimension of alignment where this is important because now you're coming into greater agreement and cooperation with the truth, watch this, that your soul, your spirit, your inner life already recognizes. So your spirit, your soul, I'm using these interchangeably, right? But your soul already recognizes and knows your God self and the truth of your true identity. This is where many spiritually awakening people struggle. I call it the in-between. It's been called the messy middle, because you know you're not what you used to be. You know you can't go back to that, but you're not yet fully flowing in who you know you should be in your original identity. You're in the messy middle. You know something. You can feel something. You can sense something. You have received the inner witness, but your outer life is still organized around that old identity. Now it's decision time. I want you to take a breath. Y'all talk back to me if any of this is resonating. What am I saying to you guys? Listen. You know something. You feel something. You sense something. You could feel the call. You could feel the pull. You know that you can't go back to being that old person that you were, but you're not yet operating with the version of yourself that you can feel and sense. That's the messy middle. I want you to hear this, because this is going to make or break your next level actualization. Because many of us have already gone through this and are still going through it at different levels. Remember, I tell you, in each dimension that we hit, awareness, awakening, alignment, adaptation, activation, there are at least 7 levels in these dimensions, right? So now you know something, but your life, your outer life, how you're functioning, how you're living, your relationships, who you're interacting with, that is still organized around your old identity. Y'all, you're in the same place, the same environment, the same church, the same association, the same family structure, same family struggles, same job that you know you've outgrown. This is real. You know something, as we talked last week, Jesus the Christ, Yeshua said, and you shall know the truth, and the truth shall make you free. It's time now to live that freedom. But your life is still being organized around the old identity. It's decision time. Why? Because you continue to say yes when everything in your spirit wants to say no. Come on, when this is not condemnation, this is not guilt, this is for deeper awareness. You continue performing to keep peace when something within you is unsettled. You just keep going along. You just keep doing what's expected of you. So I was doing a training this week, one that I've done many times. And what struck me is that it was talking about your socialized self versus your essential self, right? In our community, it's the shadow self versus the God self. That when you consistently go against your God self and the truth that you know, you're traumatizing yourself. You're traumatizing yourself. And in my religious experience, lining up with doctrine, doing what's expected, being in the clique in the club because you want to be a good son or a good daughter of the house. You want to follow the rules, right? You have these hurdles that you have to jump in order to get ordained, in order to become recognized. And I realized for many years, I was going against my authentic God self. Why? Because a lot of the things I was teaching, I did not believe. I was teaching it because it was expected of me to teach it. But the way that they presented God, I didn't believe that that's God. I was like, this doesn't seem right. See, it's these little things that we keep doing to betray the truth we already know. I already knew the truth, but it's the truth as Yeshua, Jesus, the Messiah, Yahshua, Jesus was speaking to, was that you have to now live this truth. It's one thing to know truth intellectually, and it's another thing to know truth on a deeper level where you begin to live from that truth. So you continue performing to keep the peace, as I did for many years. And this is when I knew I had been in so much trauma, making myself fit. I was the good girl, right? We talked about that, making myself fit, following those rules, because I negotiated with myself years ago as a young teenager, young adult, when I first got saved, right? And I wore makeup, I wore pants, but they told me that if I was saved, I could no longer do that. Way back then, I didn't believe that that was a sin, but I negotiated. I reasoned with myself and said, well, if you're part of this organization or this religious group, then you have to follow the rules. You have to adapt. But something in me knew that that was not sin, that I was not offending God. And it just kept going for decades. I kept going against the truth of what I know. All of that stuff about women can't be called and women can't preach. Do y'all remember those days? I had to go through all of that knowing the truth of what's in me, but I'm in an environment that says, you can't do that. God doesn't permit that. This is when I figured out something was truly wrong. This had to be maybe 2013, 2014. This is when I knew I had real serious trauma. I had taken a group of my elders, some that were going to be installed as pastors in the ministry and have pastoral duties. And we went to this clergy store, bookstore, to get clergy attire. And so I think I wanted to get a red clergy shirt at that time, right? So we picked it up. We go into the fitting room to try it on. And I put this shirt on. I've worn them many times. But instantly, I think I'm just trying on a shirt. I started shaking and getting nervous. I started sweating. I never experienced anything in my life like this. I started sweating. I started trembling, and tears just started flowing down my face. I didn't know what was wrong with me. I was like, what in the world is this? And I heard PTSD. PTSD. Years of just traumatizing myself. So when we talk about this dimension of alignment, why this is the messy middle, because you'll continue functioning out of an old identity, old obligation, when everything in you says you have to move from here. Stay in an environment. And it wasn't long after that, a year, 2 at the most, I retired from that community so that I could start living the truth. And I spent the last 10 years detoxing, deconstructing, deprogramming, decommissioning, decolonizing, allowing myself, as Jesus said, to live the truth that I know. So you continue saying yes when everything in you wants to say no. You continue performing to keep peace when something in you is unsettled. You continue shrinking around people, places, and systems that require the shadow self. Oh, y'all, this is so real. Can y'all talk back to me? Let me check in and see here. Y'all talk back. Tell me if you can identify with any of this. If you've ever made yourself small, dimmed your light, said yes when you should have said no, went along with the program just to keep the peace. Come on now. I'm not going to stand up and say that because I'll get in trouble. People going to look at me funny. All of that is you betraying the truth. Again, this is not to beat yourself up or down. This is for recognition and acknowledgement. Yes, Jules said, I did. Yes, this is real and on point. It is real. And this is how we get stuck knowing that we should be doing something different, but still operating out of an old identity. Right? So this is where alignment begins. Not with a dramatic life overhaul, because we don't want to misunderstand what alignment is. Not with a dramatic overhaul, but with the decision to stop betraying what you already know. Breathe that in, please. I want to breathe that in. And exhale. Stop betraying what we already know. So let's look at the 3 movements of alignment so that we can get this. Number 1, again, alignment is not perfection, it's agreement. Before you take a step, you must come into agreement with the truth. The truth you know. An agreement sounds like, I know this no longer fits. I know I have been overriding myself. I know I have been called into something deeper. I know my old way of being can no longer lead me. Agreement does not require you to have every answer. Please write that down. It's not perfection. It's not a complete life overhaul. It's not having all the answers. It's not being 100% clear. It simply requires you to stop denying what has already been revealed. This can't work. I'm not going to grow here. I'm going to die here if I stay like this, my spirit. I remember being in a relationship and saying to the partner, I cannot die because you refuse to live. But we do that. We keep beating ourselves down and shrinking ourselves. That is what depression is. Depression is when you keep stuffing the real you down. You just keep stuffing it down. And many of us have functioned in depressed states. High functioning but depressed. Because you're pleasing everybody else. You're keeping the peace. You're performing to keep the peace, right? So number 1, alignment begins with agreement. All right, I'm coming into agreement and cooperation with the truth I know. There's more. See, all of this is risky because you don't want to be the misfit. You don't want to be the outcast. You don't want to be the one that's not, following the rules. You don't want to be labeled as something. All your whole identity is based on how you're performing. But I speak this life into you today. You have the courage to be who you are created to be, even if they don't agree with you. Y'all talk back to me. Talk back to me. Come on. Are you ready to get out of the messy middle? Reese said, I definitely have. Yes, definitely. I want y'all to really get this today. The messy middle. Knowing something, feeling something, sensing something, but you're still negotiating with it, reasoning with it, explaining it away, asking for more clarity. It's not more clarity that you need. All right, so number 2, alignment begins with integrity. Integrity is where your outer choices begin to reflect your inner truth. Y'all, let that settle in your spirit. Integrity. Your outer truth now, your outer choices begin to reflect your inner truth, what you really know. So this may show up as, I pause before I say yes, right? I had this little thing that I did. When someone would ask me a question, before I would answer, I would say, and I practiced doing that just to give myself that pause so that I could say no when I needed to say no. Say yes when I need to say yes. So pause before you say yes. You don't have to say, I don't know. Just, pause. And really check in. And if everything in you, I can no longer do this. I can't be on this team any longer. I can't lead this group any longer. We have to be honest about that without worrying about, I'm going to lose my significance if I stop. All right? Integrity may show up as, I tell myself the truth before I explain myself to others. I tell myself the truth before I explain myself to others. I choose what is aligned over what's familiar. Write that down. That's good right there. Moving forward, you're going to choose what is aligned over what's familiar. I allow my no to be sacred. So you've heard no is a sentence all by itself. So when you say no and someone asks you why, you don't have to explain why. That no is sacred. Integrity does not mean you change everything overnight. It just means you're going to be honest with your choices. Whatever choice you're making in the moment, we want to be honest with it. It means you stop knowingly cooperate with what violates your truth. That is what I was doing all those years. Being the minister, being the elder, right? I don't want to cooperate with what I know is no longer in my best interest. Number 3, the last point is stabilization, right? This is where alignment becomes a practice, not just a moment. Not just an inner knowing, it becomes a practice. You begin stabilizing in your new identity. You learn how to remain true when guilt arises. Well, maybe you shouldn't do that. Maybe you should go on and just do it one more. No. You're going to remain true. You learn how to stay connected to your inner authority when your old expectations start pulling on you, as they will. Old expectations will start pulling on you. So listen, you have to begin stabilizing in your new identity. Why? Because the universe, the quantum field, the spirit realm, the angels, everything is responding to your identity. And remember, identity as vibration. Vibration as identity. Identity as reality. We have to come out of the messy middle and ask yourself now, where am I still living against what I already know is true? Where am I being quiet and silencing my voice, not speaking my truth, watering down my wisdom, watering down my true belief, because I don't want them to look at me funny or say I'm strange? We break the power of that right now. Where am I still living against what I already know is true? And then follow that up with, what one small act of agreement would look like this week? Agreement with your inner truth. Come on, I'm doing this with you as well. What small step of agreement, what would that look like for me this week? Where I agree with my truth. Take one more breath and just gently settle. You do not have to force your whole life into alignment overnight. You do not have to know every answer. You just begin with admitting, I know what's true for me now. What was true for me 10 years ago is not true for me now. This no longer fits. This yes is not honest. Come on. This is the dimension of alignment. Alignment isn't perfection. It is agreement. Deep breath in. Have you all downloaded your free guide, 5 Hidden Ways Women Resist Their Calling? Spiritually gifted women resist their calling without realizing it. Go to ilonasanders.com, 5 ways. Download the free guide. Go through it. I want your feedback. This is going to show you some of the hidden patterns in your life that have you denying or hiding from your calling, your assignment, your true gifting without realizing it. ilonasanders.com/5 ways. All right. So when you do that, I think I have that URL here. That's it. I think that's it. All right. So download that. Yeah, that's the URL right there. 5 ways. Download that guide. Take your time. Go through it, and let's have some conversation around what patterns are you able to see that you're operating with that's keeping you from operating in your truest self. All right. Thought, comment, question, feedback before we go. Come on. Let this be helpful. Let this be valuable to you, because alignment is the messy middle. You'll know truth and receive truth, but not allow that truth to make you free. All right. All right, lovelies, I'm going to release you with many blessings for the rest of your day and your week. Bye for now.